Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. You know what time it is. It's reading vlog time. So, I recently went to the county fair. You know, just a typical fair time, right? Fairs are fun. And what I wasn't expecting is that the library had a booth there, which is always the best time. There was a library book sale for the city that the fair was in, and then the county library services also had a booth. So I got some books. The first one is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. The only Ray Bradbury I have read is Fahrenheit 451, and I absolutely loved that book. I actually was thinking about rereading it sometime soon because I read it in high school. It's been a while, right? Since I was in high school. So I'm like, I should reread that book. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. This book just seems crazy. So it says, the carnival rolls in sometime after midnight, ushering Halloween a week early. The shrill siren song of a calliope beckons to all with the seductive promise of dreams and youth regained. In the season of dying, Cougar and Dark's Pandemonium Shadow Show has come to Greentown, Illinois to destroy every life touched by its strange and sinister mystery. And two boys will discover the secret of its smokes, mazes, and mirrors. Two friends will soon know all too well the heavy cost of wishes and the stuff of nightmare. So, it starts at a fair, at a carnival, but carnivals are at fairs. So, I was like, this seems fitting. I've been wanting to read more Ray Bradbury. I've been thinking about it recently. So, I just got this fun little paperback. So, I'm really excited about this. I hope it's not too scary, because I am a scaredy cat. Certified. So, hopefully this isn't terrifying to me, but I'm very interested to read it. I got it for $3! Shout out to the library. Love them forever. The next book that I got was Cuckoo Land. I took the dust jacket off because I started reading it, which I'll tell you about in a second. Here's what it looks like. Cuckoo Land follows, set in Constantinople in the 15th century, a small town in present-day Idaho, and on an interstellar ship decades from now. I'm from a small town in Idaho. I'm going to a small town in Idaho, where I'm from, literally tomorrow. So, I was like, small town in Idaho, what's up? And, I've heard a lot of people recommend this, and it's by the same guy who wrote All the Light We Cannot See, which I know is very popular, won the Pulitzer Prize, so something good about it, right? And, I am 30 pages in. I read the first 30 pages last night, and I was absolutely gripped. I wanted to keep reading, but then my husband said the sexiest words a husband can say, which were, "Let's watch You've Got Mail." I cannot resist that. Are you telling me that I'm going to read a book when my husband says to me, "Let's watch You've Got Mail"? It's not happening. I love that movie. So we watched You've Got Mail, and I worked on my crochet project. So I'm hoping to read a little bit more of this today. And I'll tell you more about my reading plans in a second. Let me tell you about the last book that I got. So, those were the ones that I got at the library book sale. Then we walk a little further along into this like booth area inside. And the county library services were there. And they had like one of those spinner wheels. And they had this tote bag. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And they were like, spin the wheel. So my beautiful, amazing, wonderful, loving mother-in-law was like, I'll spin for you, so that you can have whatever I get. And she got a free book, and then I spun and I got the tote bag. So, this is what the tote bag says. Sorry, my weekend is booked. Get out of town. This is a high quality tote bag. It's very nice. Got some nice straps. There's no pockets inside, but like, this is a nice tote bag. Thank you so much to the county library. Like, just, what fantastic people and services, right? The free book that I got was Crow Talk by Eileen Garvin. Fun fact, my mom's name is Eileen, and she spells it like that, which I feel like a lot of people named Eileen don't spell like that. So, this is by the author of The Music of Bees, which I have not read, but I've heard of. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be so honest with you. I didn't want to take a lot of time because there were like people behind us, and so I wasn't going to like look through all of these books very meticulously, which is what I would normally do before choosing a book. So I just grabbed this and hoped for the best. But then I read the synopsis and I was like, okay, this sounds pretty interesting. It is about the Frankie, who is a lonely ornithologist struggling with her dissertation, and Anne, who is an Irish musician raising her 5-year-old son, Aiden, who refuses to speak. And it seems like they meet at this little community of summer homes that is nestled in the foothills of Mount Adams. It says Crow Talk is an achingly beautiful story of love, grief, friendship, and the power of nature in the darkest of times. So I love nature, and I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I just thought this would be very fun. I also love birds, so I saw Ornithologist and I was like, sign me up, I'll read it. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I have to read for this little reading vlog, and I'm just grateful for the library. I love the library. Go support your local library because they, like, what a wonderful service. Truly, what a wonderful service. You get books for free. Enough said. You get books for free. Come on. So yeah, I'm very excited about this, and like I mentioned earlier, I have started reading Cuckoo Land. We'll see how much I can read today, because I do need to pack for the trip to Idaho that's happening tomorrow. I have not packed a single thing. This is like the most unprepared I've ever been for a trip. And we're driving, so it'll be a nice 11-hour road trip with 2 toddlers, which is going to be thrilling. So because of that, I don't know how much I'm going to read on the trip. I think I'm going to be driving most of the time, and then my mother-in-law is going with us because my husband is blind, so he can't drive. So she's going with us. That way we have a backup driver just in case. So I'm planning on driving the whole time, and then like if I need a break, having her drive. So I don't know if I'll read like when it's her turn to drive, if I'll even be able to, if my kids will need me. I don't know how much I'll read when I'm there. I'm gonna bring it with me, just, you know, just in case. But we'll see. We'll see how much I'm actually able to read. But I just wanted to like start this off, check in with you, tell you what we have on the docket, and I'll check in with you, let's say, when I'm halfway through Cuckoo Land. This is definitely the biggest, longest. Let's see, how many pages is it? It's 622 pages. So I'm guessing that Crow Talk is around 300. Let's see. 351. So pretty good guess. And then, ooh, what's my guess for Something Wicked This Way Comes? My guess for this is 279. Let's see. I don't want to spoil myself because this is 290. Oh, I was so close. So yeah, that's the length. So I'm starting with the longest, but yeah. Enough yapping. I will talk to you when I'm about halfway through Cuckoo Land, and we'll see how it's going. I'm excited to continue. Hello. Sorry, don't mind all of the laundry behind me. We just got back from our road trip yesterday. We went to Idaho. I think I told you this. 13 hours in a car with 2 toddlers. I'm very tired today. And I am now well over halfway through Cuckoo Land. So I thought I would just check in with you really quick before I finish it. I am really, really liking this so far. I think that right now it's a high 4, and we'll see if the ending makes it really feel like a 5-star for me. So basically we're following kind of this cast of characters throughout multiple timelines. So there is a timeline in Constantinople in the 15th century that follows a orphan girl who is like lives in a nunnery and is like an embroiderer. And then also in that timeline there is a young man who's born with a cleft palate, and his family was kicked off of the land because they, said he was like full of demons and stuff, because back in that day people didn't understand birth defects, and so he gets enlisted in the army, the Ottoman Empire army. So that's the Constantinople timeline. And then there's a timeline in Idaho that just follows one character, and it follows him kind of throughout his life. So you start in his young childhood, and then he goes off to the Korean War, and then as an old man, there's a timeline there as well. And then also in Idaho, there's a timeline of a young man who has, he's neurodivergent in some way. It doesn't say specifically. He has a lot of sensory problems, and has a really hard time. And then the last timeline is a girl on an interstellar ship, and her reading about some of the people from the previous perspectives. So I know that's kind of a lot, but I'm really liking kind of how they all fit together in some way. And I think so far this has been a really excellent exploration, I think, on otherness and feeling alone and feeling like you don't have anybody who understands you, and what that does to people, and how it can push people to do good things and bad things. And, you know, throughout history, how that's been treated. And, you know, like way back in the Constantinople line, you know, like I said, there's this boy who has a cleft palate, and he's treated, you know, so poorly because of it. And then, but then, you know, you jump forward in time, I mean, to, you know, Idaho in 2019, and this kid who is neurodivergent is also treated really poorly, you know. And so just kind of the human nature of it all. I'm really enjoying this. I think I'll be able to finish it pretty quickly because I think I only have around 100 pages. I have like 150-ish pages left, so I think I'll be able to finish that really quickly, and then I can jump into the next one. I think I'm gonna read something wicked this way comes next. So yeah, I just wanted to update you, tell you how I'm feeling about this. I'm really liking it so far. I think this is exactly the type of book that I really enjoy. So yeah, got something sticky on it, probably from being in the car. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna finish that book, and then I'll check in with you, tell you how I feel about it, about the ending, and probably start something wicked this way comes. Okay, I have to talk a little bit quickly because my camera's about to die. But I finished Cloud Cuckoo Land, and this is gonna be a 5-star for me. I really enjoyed this one, and I think that this can go in the category of like Station 11, oh, what's that book that I love? Why can't I think of what it's called? How High We Go in the Dark. Both of those books I absolutely loved, and I think this falls kind of into that same kind of category where you're kind of exploring a subject and you're in multiple timelines, multiple points of view. I think this does a wonderful job kind of exploring, like I said yesterday, the concept of otherness and what it does to people. And I think that this is just absolutely beautifully written. I know his other book, All the Light We Cannot See, is about World War II, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for it, so like obviously people liked it. And so I am thinking about picking that up now, just because this was so well written and I really enjoyed it. And there are war scenes because one of the characters is in the Korean War, and those were really well written. So yeah, I do want to touch on one subject really quick before I tell you other things. I saw a review last night. I just kind of was briefly skimming through some reviews on Goodreads, and someone was saying that they felt like one of the characters in this book, who is neurodivergent, it doesn't say that he's autistic. The reviewer said she felt like the autistic character was villainized, and was villainized for being autistic. And I could not agree less with that, because I think that this book handles neurodivergency, is that a word? Neurodivergency? Very well. I think that I am not neurodivergent. I'll put that out there. But my husband is, and he really has a lot of sensory issues, especially when it comes to sound, because he's blind. And so sounds can really bug him, especially like chewing, coughing, sniffing. Those kinds of sounds really can put him over the edge. And so he uses tools like earplugs and headphones whenever we're with a group of people, because it helps him regulate and not get overwhelmed by the sound. And so, you know, one of the characters in here also has sensory issues, and I think that it just does such a wonderful job of showing how some people, especially teachers and adults in his life especially, some people understand that's helping him and allow him to do it, and some people, it talks about how one of his teachers is like, absolutely not allowed, and you have to sit next to the girl who's chewing loudly because you're hurting her feelings. And it's like, that's what's making him upset, and that teacher can't see that and can't see how wearing headphones is helping him and sitting far away from this person is helping him. So I thought that, and I thought he wasn't villainized. He does some bad things in this book. How much can I say without spoiling it? Oh yeah, it does. It does tell in the synopsis, he plants a bomb in the library, and he is going to set it off. And I think this book does a great job of showing how bad people can manipulate those who feel alone and who feel like nobody understands them. And a lot of times that does happen to neurodivergent people, especially young men, neurodivergent young men. He is manipulated by a group of people who are bad people and who know what to say to get him to feel like he's a part of something. And so I just thought that review was completely wrong. I mean, everybody's allowed to have their opinions, but I just wanted to put that out there, that I think that if you're neurodivergent, or if there's somebody in your life who's neurodivergent, I think this actually could be a great book for you to read, because I think that it does a great job of showing that experience of how some people understand and some people don't. And although he does this bad thing of putting a bomb in a library, he's able to learn and grow. And I don't know if you can ever really make amends to something like that. I don't want to spoil too much of what happens, but I think that he gains understanding for both himself. He gains understanding of what he's done, and understanding from other people as well. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that I think that this book handled it really well. So just wanted to tell you that I disagreed with that review. Anyway, 5 stars for me. Really enjoyed that book. I am going to start Something Wicked This Way Comes. I read the first 5 pages last night, and then I was too tired, so I went to sleep. So yeah, I'm just in the mood for something kind of spooky, and my husband and I were talking about rewatching Stranger Things Season 1 because it is top tier. And yeah, I kind of feel like this can also fill that spooky mood that I'm in. Because here's the thing. I'm a scaredy cat. I get scared really easily. I don't like horror movies. I don't read a lot of horror, but there is like a slim genre of horror that I love to read, and I'm hoping this fits in there. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into this and I'll let you know how it goes. This one's pretty short, so we'll see if I read it all in one go. I might. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Had playgroup today, had to take my car in to the mechanic, thought that I had a hose leak. Turns out the whole water pump needs replaced, so bye-bye $700, am I right? Anyway, that's where we're at. I'm gonna do some reading and I'll check in with you in a little bit. Okay, so I'm now like a quarter-ish of the way through Something Wicked This Way Comes, and so far I'm a little bit confused. There have been some things that I'm like, wait, what is happening? And I'm not exactly sure, but we have met our main characters, Will and Jim, and they are like opposites, but they're best friends. Like, they complement each other in their opposite nature, and Jim is like the more explory one. Explory is not a word. What am I thinking of? Like, what's the word I'm thinking? Jim is more curious. Jim is the one who kind of pushes them to do things, and Will goes along with him because he's like, well, just don't do it alone. So the circus has come into town, and they're watching the circus get set up, and the calliope, which I've learned I think is a type of organ. Like, as in organ, not like organ, not like a body part, but like a musical instrument, is like playing by itself, and it's all creepy, and they look into the like maze of mirrors, and there's like weird stuff in it, and it's all like dark and weird. And then they go during the day, and it's like everything seems normal except for the maze of mirrors, and that still seems like weird to them. So I don't want to reveal too much more. They kind of have discovered something about the circus and the people who run it. So that's where I'm at with this. So I don't know that I can really tell you if I'm enjoying it or not, because I think I'm still trying to just kind of figure out what's going on. But it's pretty short, and I didn't have that much time to read, and I feel like I got a fair chunk in, so we'll see how much more I'll read today. I'm honestly not in the mood to read right now. I'm in the mood to crochet. So we'll see how much I actually read of this right now, because I feel like I need to read it so that I can, you know, finish it and get this vlog out to you and tell you how I feel about it. But also, if I'm not in the mood to read, should I read? You know what I mean? Like, I should do my other hobbies too, right? When I'm in the mood for them. So that's where I'm at, and I'll update you probably when I finish it, because I doubt that there will be like much more to say when I get to the halfway point, because I'm almost to the halfway point. So that's where I'm at with Something Wicked This Way Comes. Hi, hello, how are you? I finished Something Wicked This Way Comes by Bradbury. I'm gonna give this a 3.5. I did enjoy it, but it did also fall a little flat for me. There are times where I feel like this is a little bit overwritten, and Bradbury has a really beautiful writing style. His prose is very pretty, and in Fahrenheit 451 that really, really worked for me, and it really like impacted me, and I thought about it for a long time. I do want to reread that one. This one, I think there were moments when it felt very impactful, and there were moments when I was like, huh? What's happening? And I had to kind of reread some passages because I was a little bit confused. There is still like a section at the beginning that I'm still kind of confused about. And as far as like the characters, Will and Jim don't feel like they're young boys, and so that makes it kind of hard to like get into it and buy their friendship, because they also don't, like, sometimes they do feel like they're best friends, and then other times I'm like, they're supposed to be best friends? I don't buy that. But I will say I really liked the father-son dynamic in this book. I think that it's great to see a very positive father-son relationship and a building of a father-son relationship. I think that's something that kind of gets skipped over in a lot of media. So that is something that I did appreciate about this book. And as far as like its scariness level, it was spooky, but it wasn't scary. So for me that works. But yeah, an interesting one for sure. I'm glad I picked it up though, because I had never heard of it, and it's fun to just find something random and pick it up and read it. And so yeah, Something Wicked This Way Comes. So now I'm gonna jump into Crow Talk by Eileen Garvin, and this is gonna be a completely different vibe. So I'll probably check in with you when I'm like halfway through this book, and I'll let you know how I feel about it. I'm kind of feeling not great, so I think I just want to lay down and do nothing for a while. So that's where I'm at. I'll check in with you probably around the halfway point of Crow Talk, and we'll see how that's going. Hello everybody, welcome back. Here's where I'm at. I read like 8 pages of this, and I'm just not in the mood to read it right now. I really am not. I don't want to read it, and I don't want to put myself into a reading slump, forcing myself to read a book that I don't want to read. So, I'm not going to read it. I know that's kind of a lame way to end this vlog. However, I think that it's important in the bookish community, the bookish space online, to recognize that it's okay to put down a book if you're not in the mood to read it, and that doesn't mean that you'll never come back to it. I see a lot of people online be really afraid to DNF books, or even if you don't want to say like a hard DNF, even if it's like a soft DNF. Sorry, my voice was kind of going out for a second. Even if it's a soft DNF, I will read this at some point in the future, but I don't want to right now. A lot of people are afraid to do that. I have talked to some people on Instagram and stuff, and they say I only DNF like maybe 5 books in a year. Maybe. And I'm like, girl, I DNF 30 books a year. Because if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to force myself to read it. It'll just put me in a reading slump and a bad mood. So why would I do that? And I think that for me, my perspective on this has changed a lot, especially since becoming a mom, because the time that I have for myself is nap time. And that's basically it. Obviously, after my husband gets home from work, if I feel like I need alone time, I can be like, hey dude, I need alone time. I'll see you later. You have the kids. And he's fine with that. But most of the time, that's not what happens because I want to be with him. I want to be with my kids, even if it's like been a hard day. It's easier once he's home, right? Like I want to spend time with my family. And so, you know, and then I also have after my kids go to bed. And sometimes I do read after my kids go to bed, but that's also the time I have to spend with my husband, just him and I. And so, you know, sometimes we're doing our own things, and like a lot of times I'll read while he works out. He put a rocking chair in his gym for me so that I can read while he works out. Or like if he is working on his own thing, maybe I'll read during that, or, you know, whatever it may be. The point is, the amount of time that I have only for myself is pretty limited in this stage of my life because I have 2 very small children. I have 2 toddlers. And so they take about a 2-hour nap every single day. So I have 2 hours. And so what I do with those 2 hours is important to me because that's the only time I have to do things for myself. Sometimes I have to do a lot of like administrative tasks for our family, like for insurance and bank accounts and things like that. And sometimes I just want to like lay on my bed or play a video game or read, but I'm not going to force myself to do something that I'm not enjoying during the only time that I have for myself. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like when I didn't have kids or when I wasn't married yet, I could push myself through a book more because I had a lot more time to myself. And that's just not the case right now in my life. And as my kids get older, I'll have more time to myself, right? Like when they're in school, I'll have more time to myself because they'll be at school. Unless I get a job. And then I'll be at a job. But, or, you know, like when they're teenagers or once they move out of my house and they're adults, then what am I going to do? Huh? Exactly. So, all of that to say, I'm not going to read Crow Talk right now. I will probably read it in the future because it does seem like it will be interesting. It takes place in the Pacific Northwest. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Oregon. This takes place in Washington? Or no, it's by Hood River, so that is in Oregon. I just drove through Hood River the other day. So that's fun, like in the sense of like I can recognize where these places are and picture it really well in my head because I live here. So I will probably read it in the future, but I just don't want to right now. So I'm not gonna. So, just to summarize, where are the other books? Hold on, let me grab them. The library system is fantastic. Whether you are borrowing on Libby, whether you borrow books physically, whether you go to the Friends of the Library book sale, it's a wonderful place to be. It has blessed me deeply. Cloud Cuckoo Land, honestly, I think is a new favorite book for me in general. I really, really enjoyed this book and I just keep thinking about it. I really, really like this. I've been thinking about it a lot and I'm really glad that I read this because I've seen this around at bookstores forever and I've been like, what is that? That looks interesting, and I never looked into it. So I'm really glad that I finally read this. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Honestly, this didn't do a ton for me, but I'm glad that I read another Ray Bradbury because I've been wanting to recently. It's such a fun random thing to pick up, just like a weird old book about a creepy carnival. Yeah, it was a fun time. Crow Talk. I'm not reading it right now. Sorry, I took the dust jacket off. But I'm sure it has great things to offer. So, with all that being said, thank you for being here. Thank you for witnessing me read these books. Go support your local library in whatever way you can because it's a wonderful system. And tell me what has been your most recent favorite read. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!